Hi guys, what's up? It's Wolfgang from Rock Guitar Vibes. Are you sick of cables tripping on stage or being chained to your pedal board? Today I'm testing the P58 wireless system from Xvive, and I will show you whether it truly delivers cable-free freedom without sacrificing tone. So let's find out how good this little box is. So here it is, the P58 guitar wireless system from Xvive. So let's take a look in it. What we have here. Okay, that small little thing here is the transmitter. Then we have the receiver with a built-in tuner. It's pretty sturdy and solid. Looks good so far. And then we have this little box here. What's it? Some papers, manuals in English and in my native language. And product info about other products and a warranty card. Then we have a USB cable. It's USB-C for charging the transmitter. And what's a bit special here, it comes along with a power supply. Nowadays it's a bit unusual, but not the baddest idea. Let's take a look at the specs. The system transmits over 5.8 GHz with up to 6 selectable channels. This frequency band is usually less crowded and more stable than 2.4 GHz. The internal audio processing is 24-bit at 48 kHz. It has an active pickup support option and 5 milliseconds latency. We will check this later. The transmitter runs for about 5 hours and the range is up to 30 meters, which is less than other systems that work on 2.4 GHz, but sufficient for most venues you can imagine. The receiver also has an input jack you can use as backup if the transmitter fails for some reason. As soon as you plug in a cable, the wireless system turns off. There's also a true bypass or buffered switch. True bypass if you want maximum tone purity, buffered if you run many pedals or long cables. However, keep in mind that the switch works only if the input jack of the pedal is used. In wireless mode it's always buffered because technically true bypass over wireless is of course not possible. The power supply that comes along with the system has 12 volts, but the pedal takes 9 to 12 volt, so you can also use a 9 volt out of your isolated power supply. The pedal requires at least 200 mA. For faster charging of the transmitter with the enclosed USB-C cable, it's recommended to use a power output with 500 mA. Now let's finally demonstrate how to run the system, and it's pretty simple. First, power up the receiver. What's immediately showing up is the actual channel. In an unfamiliar venue, keep the scan button pressed for a few seconds until the best channel is found. Now you can see it stops automatically. With a short press on the button, you can manually select the channel. Next, power up the transmitter with the on-off switch here and select the channel that is displayed on the receiver. Next to the power button you can find the channel select button. And once the connection is established, a green indicator light will be displayed on the receiver. That's it. Now you can use your guitar as usual. So let's plug in the transmitter into the guitar and see how well this system works. Before I forget, there's one more thing. If your guitar has active pickups, simply press and hold the channel select button on the transmitter for a few seconds to activate support for active pickups. Another green indicator will light up, showing the current status. Now let's get a bit nerdy and check the latency. From the specs we know that the wireless system has 5 milliseconds latency. This means it feels like you are standing 1.7 meters away from your cabinet. That's around 5.6 feet. So if you are standing 10 feet away from your cabinet, you have to add 5.6, so it feels like you are standing 15.6 feet away. Normally this shouldn't be a problem. However, in case you have more digital devices in your signal chain, latency can sum up and you possibly will feel kind of a very short delay, so keep this in mind. Now let's check if the latency is really correct and independent from the distance. For this I feed a test signal into the transmitter and connect my oscilloscope to the source signal and the receiver signal. The blue line is the signal that goes into the transmitter and the yellow line is the one from the receiver. And as you can see now, it's exactly 4.8 milliseconds. That's a bit less than expected. And when I'm moving away my pedal board, the latency of course should stay unchanged. And as you could see, this works fine. Now let's take a quick look at the chromatic tuner. The foot switch activates the tuner and mutes the output. This cannot be changed. Same for the reference pitch and the brightness of the display. The tuner itself works fast and well. And I would say it's a nice bonus and can help to save some pedalboard space. Another very important point is if the wireless system will change your sound. For this I will use a special setup. From my guitar I'm going into a splitter. One output goes straight into the audio interface and the other output goes into the transmitter. The receiver is connected to another input channel of the audio interface. If everything works fine, I should get two identical tracks that I can use for sound comparisons. Now let's compare the tracks. To me, both recordings sound the same, but let's get more scientific and check the transmission with white noise. For those who don't know, white noise contains all frequencies across the spectrum of audible sound. To make sure that my setup works fine, I'm doing a first test by replacing the wireless system with another cable. And if we compare the two tracks, there should be no difference. The result is a perfectly flat line. Exactly what we want. Now let's switch to the wireless setup and do it again. As you can see, the result is very good. However, at around 40 Hz the curve starts to drop. At 25 Hz the loss is -1 dB, and frankly, no human can hear this difference. So in terms of transparency, the P58 performs extremely well. However, some older pedals like fuzzes or wahs may not behave correctly because they expect a high impedance signal. That has nothing to do with wireless systems. The same thing happens with buffers. The next thing I want to test is reliability. For this I will use the system every day for a week to check out if I can notice any dropouts. The first thing I've noticed was that you can only switch between active and passive mode within the first few seconds after turning on the transmitter. So please keep this in mind. Regarding wireless reliability, after a week of use there hasn't been a single dropout during this time, which is great. I do not test maximum range here since it depends heavily on the location, and many other reviewers already covered that. Here in my environment I never had any issues. Regarding the reliability of the hardware, I accidentally dropped the transmitter on the floor a few times and it kept working without any problems. The only thing I don't like is that the transmitter is a bit too bulky for guitars with the output jack mounted on the top. Here you can see the use of the whammy bar is a bit limited when plugged in. On all my other guitars it works absolutely fine. You should also know that Xvive sent me the P58 wireless system for free, however they had no influence on the content of this video. The system is around 220 bucks, that's not cheap, but I think it's worth the money. And if you already own the Xvive A58, you can also buy the P58R receiver only for less. So if you are looking for a reliable, great sounding wireless system with an integrated tuner, the P58 is absolutely worth checking out. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and ring the bell for more gear reviews, rigs and rock-ready guitar setups. Merry Christmas, take care and see you next time.